Hey guys, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. Today's review is the game that I consider to be the game of the year. You've already read the title, Kingdom Hearts 3. That's right, guys. The game that I consider to be the game of the year is Kingdom Hearts 3. So, this video is going to be a spoiler-free thing, so yeah. So a few things that I need to talk about is how quick and easy the combat is. It's nice and fluid. All of the worlds are super expansive. Like, you may see the map and think, oh, it's not that big. But yeah, you can see just by looking at this whole thing, it's pretty massive. Just in this one section of this one area, it's insane. But yeah, so world's huge. For example, Olympus has only 3 areas, but they're all ginormous. Yeah. Um, and when you're in a world, you're not going to have that bad of a loading time, so you don't have to worry too much about it. So yeah, really the only times that you're going to get a loading screen that's going to take a while is when you're going from one world to the other. So for example, if you're going from the world map to Olympus and so on and so forth, then it would have a loading screen. But going from the world to the world map, it doesn't have that much of a loading screen. So there's that. But let's talk a little bit about combat. So the thing about the combat is that you are able to summon one of 3 Keyblades basically on the fly just by pressing the arrow keys on your controller. Just press right or left, and boom, you got it. When you're actually in combat, if you press either of these, either the R2 or L2, or if you're playing on Xbox, then it's going to be right trigger and left trigger. Then instantly you'll switch your triangle commands, which will pop up constantly in combat. You don't have to use them for a lot at all. You can use them sparingly or all the time, no matter depending on how you want to play. If you want to add a little bit more challenge, don't use triangle. What I suggest if you're wanting to be a stick in the mud, then you just don't press triangle. Then you'll basically just be playing just like normal Kingdom Hearts 1, basically. Yeah. Now, obviously, you have your attacks, which, like, seriously, what did you expect? It's not that huge. Basically, just X and circle. Then you have your magic, which what is special about magic is that you can actually call upon any magic that you've previously owned. So, for example, if you want to use fire or Fire instead of Firaga, you can, but you're going to be using it in the trigger when you have your shortcut commands. But you're not really going to use it that often, so don't worry too much. Another thing is that there are 3 sections in your shortcut commands. I usually have my normal attacks, so my normal way that I usually set things up is always have Blizzaga on circle, Cure on triangle, Square is usually my most offensive ability, which in this game is Wadaga, and then X is your big attack, which is Firaga. So, and then the second one, I usually set for the ones I'm going to be using a lot in water, so Blizzard, Thunder, Air, and Fire in the order from Circle, Triangle, Square, X. And then the last one I use as my links, which luckily you can't see those, but yeah. Obviously there's items. They're very fluid. It's nice and easy to activate them. Even if you don't have them in your shortcuts, you can still do that pretty easily. And then there's links. These are all, so you have 5. It's kind of sad that you don't get more, but hey, what you gonna do? It's basically, so most of them are characters that you've met in previous games. The only one that's not is the 8-Bit Blast, which is Wreck-It Ralph. So, yeah. Kind of weird that Wreck-It Ralph became a summon, considering the fact that he's like the only one. This time it's more supposed to be people that you know, but I don't know. It's not a huge deal. But let's talk about how well these work. So, for the most part, each of the different links are going to work pretty differently. For example, since you'll a lot of the things will have you be jumping, and X, circle and X are mostly going to be what you're going to be using for the most part with all these things. Circle is usually going to be some jump attack. Square is going to be a normal attack. Of all of the links, I think the most often one I will use is King's Flare, unless I'm dealing with a lot of enemies, in which case I might use Plasma Encounter. But even still, King's Flare is usually the better option. Mawile isn't really that great. 8-Bit Blast, I've seen more people use it to get out of places than anything. So if you don't care too much about it, then it's fine. But yeah, those are your links. So let's talk a little bit about the gummy ships. Gummy ships have an entirely new overhaul. It's very quick, very easy. You can, if you want, you have to actually travel to each of the worlds the first time, but you can warp to them afterwards. And there are 3 main segments, 3 main major sections throughout the worlds. There's the first segment, the second segment, and then the final world segment. And basically, that's all you're going to have to deal with for all of the times that you're going to be going to throughout the worlds. And I believe that there are only really 3 gummy ship battles that you absolutely have to do in order to progress the story. There's 1 to go to Toy Story, 1 to I think it might be the Monsters Inc. one, but I'm not 100% certain. It might. I don't know. It's one of the ones it's somewhere around there. It's one of the worlds, but you don't really need to worry about it. And then there's one for the last world. You have to deal with those 3, and then no others will you have to deal with in order to progress through the story. However, there's a ton of bosses, and I do suggest that you fight all of them if you want to get certain trophies. I recommend, if you want to get a whole bunch of items so that you can complete the trophy, then you want to go through the second area, because that will have more than 20 treasures to get. So, yeah. But yeah, that's basically what the gummy ship is. So let's talk a little bit about the story. Now, I did say that this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm gonna keep all the spoilers to a minimum. But we do have to talk a little bit about this, because otherwise I can't give you a full review. Now, the game is extremely insane. Let's say you've just watched all the trailers. Even if you've seen all of the trailers, you're not going to know how things are going to end. They did a really good job of framing a lot of the scenes so that you don't, especially in the end part of the game, so that you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. Like there's some points if you've seen the trailers, then you know that there's a point where it looks like everyone's dying. There's some really cool stuff that happens around that point. But I'm not gonna spoil it, except for the fact that it's some really cool stuff. And there's a lot of things like that. It's just that happened. What the fudge? even someone like me who can usually predict an entire game or movie like that, everything came at a surprise. Like, I kind of felt like, oh, they'll take care of it, they'll save the day. But there were several points where I was just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, obviously, this isn't the end of the game, so that's not happening. But that specific thing that looks like it's gonna be the end of the world, it's not gonna happen. But wow, um, a lot of the story plots for the worlds, the Disney worlds, are more of happening. You're exploring the world while the movie is going on. I'll just use pirates as an example. For a lot of pirates, you're gonna be completely separate from the story. You'll get like little glimpses and pieces of what's going on in the movie, but if you haven't watched the movie, you're gonna be completely lost, which makes the E10 rating a bit extreme because people who haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean are just gonna look at the game and just be like, "Huh, what the heck is going on here?" And that's something that's kind of interesting. Um, they did do some weird stuff as well. Like, now, a lot of my complaints are actually because are kind of important because of the fact that they needed it to be an E-rated game. So there's one point, um, since Pirates of the Caribbean is a higher rated movie than what would be appropriate for E10 plus game, they actually do not show Davy Jones's heart. They just show the chest and they stab the heart while it's still in the chest instead of uh, they actually have the heart in his hand, in Jack's hand, and then they stab it. That's not how it works this time. They still stab it. I mean, it's in the movie. Everyone knew that was going to happen, but um, they don't show the heart, and that's kind of annoying. But I understand it because it is rated E10. Um, there were a lot of points that made me sad, and there's a lot of things that I looked at it and I was like, I'd like more information. Like, what? I thought they needed all of this, but it didn't happen. So I do hope that they will fill out a lot more of the information. I'm hoping to get the Ultimania, so that I can actually understand a lot of this information. But that's not necessarily super important. But anyways, guys, um, that's my that's what I have to say about it. Um, the gameplay is smooth, fluid. No matter which which thing you're in, there are mini games, and you do have to go through a few of them to complete the story. But most of them don't feel like overly repetitive. Like, oh, you messed up on this one? No, you're not gonna mess up on them. And a lot of them are just, they feel like they're part of the combat. They're part of the whole game. I'll just use the first mini game that you're going to do as an example, the sled riding. You have to ride your sled in order to bypass some fires in Olympus. But then later on, you get another way to do that mini game, and then it's fun, but you don't have to worry too much about it, you know. But there's for most of the worlds, there are two mini games. There's the one that you have to do as you're going through the story, and then there's the one that you have to do through the Fantastic Seven in order to get the ultimate weapon later. And that's basically it. And most of the Fantastic Seven, you'll be able to complete them by doing while you're playing through the first world the first time. I believe that the only ones that you cannot do that in are Olympus and Tangled. That's it. So, yeah. But anyways, guys, that's what I think. So what would I give this game out of 10? Definitely a 10 out of 10. It felt good. Would I say that it is better than Kingdom Hearts 2? Final Mix? No. I believe that there are going to be some stuff that they add in the Final Mix DLC. And yes, I do believe that the Final Mix is going to be a DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. I believe that that is going to make this game better. So I do not believe that you can actually rank this in with I don't think that you can rank it in with the Final Mixes. So Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix are still better than Kingdom Hearts 3 Normal, but Kingdom Hearts 3 Normal is better than Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Normal. So that's my opinion. Once we get the Final Mix, I do believe that it will increase its score, its rank on the list to past 2 and Birth by Sleep Final Mixes. But I do not know. But that's mostly because I kind of wanted more secret bosses, or just more bosses in general, but we didn't get them, or repeatable bosses. We don't have them. There's one secret boss, and I wish that there were more. Once we get the extra bosses in the Final Mix, then I think it will be a lot better. As well as once we get critical mode, it will be better, and we can continue on with the next game. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys in the next video. But on. Oh, also, don't forget to check out my book. The link is down in the description, along with all of my other links. Yeah. Go play Kingdom Hearts 3.